Kansas City. Al Michaels with Dan Deerdorf, Boomer Esiason, and Leslie Visser. Second half getting underway, and the Kansas City Chiefs will get the ball as Jason Elam sends it into the arms of Rashawn Sheehy at the 7-yard line. And the rookie brings it back out to the 27, and we'll check in with Leslie.
Strike so quickly that is the problem. As you know, Denver scored right away. He said, but that is behind them now, and he thinks now they can exploit to both Derek Alexander and to Andre Rison. Although, Al, it may be too late. Denver has won 27 straight regular season games when they have led at the half. They're leading now, Al.
They are, and it would clearly behoove Kansas City to better utilize the outside guys. Rison and Alexander in particular from the 27-yard line as they attempt to eradicate or erase a 13-point lead, and it's Tony Gonzalez, the tight end, who has to come back and make the catch and gain only 2.
Well, they better start behooving now. I mean, this is something you can't sit and wait on, because when you're playing against a team like the Denver Broncos, I mean, they just pile it on. They're used to getting up to big leads, and they don't let up. A lot of teams will let. We saw last week in Pittsburgh, Green Bay almost got into it in the end because Pittsburgh let up.
A lot of pressure here, Boomer, on the front 5 of Kansas City, their offensive line. A lot of pressure in the first half and on that first play by this front 4 of Denver.
That was a loss of 2, and it's second down and 12. And Gannon fires. It's caught by Rison, and that goes to a first down. Andre Rison.
You know, and Andre Rison is a player that can make plays if you get the ball into his hands. And, you know, I'd pull a guy like that aside during a game like this and say, hey, look, man, this is your game now. I'm going to get the ball to you somehow. I'm going to throw it to you. I need you to make plays for me. You know, and he'll respond for you. He'll go out. He'll catch balls. He likes the big games. He likes the spotlight.
72 catches last year for Andre Rison. What was a big year for him here with the Chiefs.
That was his first catch of the night. And that should have been a second. Yep.
Well, he was plenty open.
He was plenty open, and Rich has got to hit him. He's got to throw a better ball than that one.
It'll be second down and 10. Look at the numbers for the first half. And, oh, you think about it, the Broncos on a pace to gain 490 yards tonight.
And you usually don't see that. The time of possession in the favor of Kansas City. I mean, you look at those numbers.
Yards per minute, certainly favoring Denver.
Second and 10 from the 37-yard line. Back to the ground and back to Bennett. Jamel Bennett, who started the game and then has played sparingly since, picks up a couple.
You have to think that when you're playing against the Denver Broncos, you think that they are a ball control team because they run it so effectively. But, you know, they put up points quickly and in bunches.
And the crowd kind of murmurs here, guys, every time Kansas City goes with a running play, but they can't throw it every down.
You have to keep the defensive linemen and the linebackers honest at the line of scrimmage with some sort of threat to keep them home a little bit.
Third down and 7. Gannon fires over the middle. It's caught, and it is a first down. Tony Gonzalez, the tight end. Jimmy Ray, the offensive coordinator, leans forward, and they'll move the 6. First down.
And if Andre Rison is the guy you go to on the outside, certainly Tony Gonzalez has got to be a guy that's a bigger part of this game in the second half. He's a weapon. He's a tool. Use it.
And you're at the part of the field now where you can start going down the field a little bit more. But this is the type of things that Tony Gonzalez has got to get used to, making those plays on third and down, the hard catches, and breaking some tackles.
Gannon buying all kinds of time and then flips one to Bennett, and even better served with an incomplete pass because Mobley turns it into an 8-yard loss.
Well, Mobley's locked up on Bennett the entire time, and so he's just going to trail him, chase him, shadow him, and that's a dead play unless somehow Bennett is able to make Mobley miss.
He wanted to go deep to Joe Horn down the left-hand sideline and got pushed out of the pocket a little bit. Now he kept his awareness about him. Rich Gannon I'm talking about here. He wants to go deep down the left-hand sideline, but once you can't throw the ball late. You have to make the decision to get it up and get it quickly up in the air. And now he's looking for his secondary receivers.
Second down and 18. He flips it underneath to Kimball Anders, and Glenn Cadrez makes sure that Anders doesn't get past the 43-yard line, setting up 3rd and long.
Glenn Cadrez has come on and filled in nicely at the middle linebacker position for the Denver Broncos. You know, he's a guy that made it at special teams in the New York Jets when I was there, and came out now, has found a home for himself with the Denver Broncos, and has really filled in nicely for them, has given them good solid play there, and also on special teams as well.
It's an eclectic group back there. Cadrez and Romanowski's been around a long time, and Mobley kind of an emerging star. He's a little past that point, though. John's arrived. Full-fledged. Yeah. 3rd down and 14. Little dump off to Anders. Screen, takes it past the 50, gets to the 47-yard line, but still 5 yards shy of the 1st down, and they'll have to punt. Crowd not happy with the play selection.
Well, they're happy when they go for 1st downs. You know, and that's when you become a genius, when a screen pass on 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9 goes for a 1st down, and you're trying to give your team a chance to make a play, and you're worried about the other team's pass rush. That's the play that you call.
Aguilar flagged down. It bounces at the 11-yard line, and that's a terrific kick, assuming the penalty is not against Kansas City. Rick Dennison, the special teams coach, looking on, and the penalty is against the Denver Broncos. And if it's a hold, it'll be a 1st down for Kansas City.
Well, it would have to be prior to the kick. If it happened post-kick, then they'll just move him back half the distance.
It was 4th down and 5.
Holding on the receiving team during the kick, number 89, will penalize half the distance to the goal line. 1st down.
Post. And so post possession in effect. And Denver gets it at the 3. And the defending champion.
All right, man, the Shark is back, baby.
Yep.
He just won the Shark shootout this week, so.
Sherwood Country Club.
Steve Elkington, yep.
From the 3-yard line, 1st down for the Denver Broncos. Oh, and Davis with a big hole, and he exploits it and takes it out to the 14. So from the shadow of the end zone to a 1st down at the 14, tackled by Hasty.
Great running backs have a knack to get into the line of scrimmage and find a hole, whether it be on the play side to the side where the play was called, or to be able to cut it back. And Terrell Davis right now is doing it about as well as anybody's ever had in the NFL. And you can see he starts to the right. He sees the pile and cuts it back to the left against the grain.
What a block by Mark Schlereth, the left guard, number 69. A wipeout.
Davis with 80 yards on 9 carries. That's caught by Willie Green. Green loses the ball, but the play was whistled dead. Mark McMillan will take it into the end zone, but just for show.
Almost that big play that Kansas City needs.
Willie Green playing in place of the injured Ed McCaffrey. The number 3 receiver, former Carolina Panther.
You know, the interesting thing is that a number of the players have said in the papers out of Denver that they don't want to be the guy that messes up. They don't want to be the guy that causes their team to lose, and that's an intense peer pressure within the locker room.
Here's Davis. Terrell with a 1st down to the 25, and another flag. Well, let's see. We've got Hancock's crew already calling 13. This will be 14. We're being told that as long as the Broncos have a comfortable or relatively comfortable lead.
Holding. Offense, number 62, will penalize half the distance to the goal line. Repeat the down. 2nd down.
As long as they have the lead, McCaffrey will stay on the sideline. They'll try to get through the rest of the game without him to let him rush the leg. Dan Neal is the guilty party on the holding call here.
You know, there's something about comfortable in the NFL that just doesn't seem to go. They don't go together. You know what I'm saying? You're never comfortable in the NFL. It doesn't matter whether you're a 9-0 football team, a 2-7 football team. Everybody in the NFL is uncomfortable.
Especially at Arrowhead.
Right.
A tough place to play for the visitor.
2nd down and 15. As Brister throws, and that's incomplete. Intended for Sharp. covered by Jerome Woods.
Finally, the Kansas City defense has figured out that a lot of the time in the passing game, Bubby is going to be on the move, and he's going to make a play fake to Terrell Davis, trying to suck in the over-aggressive defense of the Kansas City Chiefs. And Chester McLaughlin that time saw it, read it, and made the play and went after the quarterback.
Denver has not converted a first down. They've only had 3 third down situations tonight.
A lot of times they've just gone from first down to first down to first down.
3rd and 15, blitz. Brister going deep down the sideline, and somehow it winds up in the arms of Marcus Nash. Their #1 pick out of Tennessee at 6'3" and 195, and Bubby puts it right in there.
What a terrific
flag down.
What a terrific pass.
Robert Williams and Woods with the coverage.
Defense number 46. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, completed pass. First down.
Robert Williams.
You can't realize how difficult it is to be in the end zone of the Kansas City Chiefs and have to deliver a ball on the money when they're blitzing on the road. And to be able to deliver the ball this accurately and allowing Nash to make a play using his size and his athleticism. Terrific throw by Bubby Brister.
Nash, mainly inactive this season, had caught 1 ball all year. That's a wobbly tipped ball, but it winds up in the arms of Rod Smith for a gain of 6.
That's a pretty good sign that, you know, things pretty much fall into your basket, even when you're not looking for it. When a ball gets tipped at the line of scrimmage and still goes into the hands of the intended target and he catches it. Marty's got to be thinking, what has to happen here for us to have something positive happen to us? Bubby's just looking to the right, ball's tipped, but still has enough on it to find its way to Smith.
Halfway through the 3rd quarter, Denver on top by 13 on 2nd down and 3. They give it to Davis, who swings to the outside. And Terrell somehow, some way, picks up a first down. Rod Smith throws a nice block to spring him.
Well, these wide receivers of the Denver Broncos just pride themselves on the way they block. They love to come back upfield and get a block. And Rod Smith that time, it looks like Terrell Davis has no chance of getting the first down. Shannon Sharp, another one of those guys. But here comes Davis right at you. Now watch from the left side of your screen. It looks like he stopped. And there's Rod Smith. He ends up tying up 3 Kansas City Chiefs.
James Hasty was shoving him back in the backfield.
Did any of those guys make the tackle?
No, they didn't. But, you know,
First down, Davis again, and Terrell on his way to another triple-figure night to the 39.
You're belittling what Rod Smith did there?
Well, he took one for the team. He threw his body into everybody. Actually got his body thrown into everybody.
I didn't say he tomahawked anybody. I just said that was a very effective job.
Yes, it was. It was.
You are really hard to please,
He was a kamikaze. You know, he took one for the team. That's all right.
And the beneficiary is Terrell Davis, Elway starting, as you can see, and Brister starting, and they're actually averaging more points per game with Bubby at the helm. Of course, Bubby has not played particularly outstanding opponents until, well, tonight. And Terrell Davis is stopped close to the line of scrimmage. Davis now with 94 yards.
2 of his 3 were Washington and Philadelphia.
And the 3rd was San Diego.
You know, San Diego's got a heck of a defense now. They do.
We know that. We agree.
Anytime there's Junior Seau's running around out there in the field, that's enough for me.
Well, Junior Seau put the kibosh on John Elway's plans last week. Elway actually got in from one series after Brister had started the game.
Oh, there are no easy games, and even though Denver likes to make it look easy.
And the Broncos have taken a...
Well, they're going to have a measurement here. They've stopped it to see whether or not they picked up the first down.
You know, the amazing thing about
a breather.
Right.
Yes.
The amazing thing about the Broncos is the alacrity at which they play.
Excuse me?
Yes,
Is that a mineral?
It's tough to keep up with you, Al.
Well, depends what town we're in. That's a first down.
Well, Mike Shanahan bursting into the giggles over on the... You don't see that very often.
No, somebody had no giggling on that sideline.
Somebody had a yuck over there.
can afford to laugh with numbers like that, with a guy like Davis in the backfield, 12 carries for 95 yards, first down at the 38-yard line.
And Kansas City, a meager 28 yards on the night so far. And that is meager.
Up. Caught by Sharp, taken down at the 23-yard line. Shannon Sharp making the catch. And tackled from behind by McMillan.
Seems like any play they call, they're making big yardage off of it, and a lot of it's coming off of the play action passing. And
look at Chester McLaughlin and Shannon Sharp. Some unfinished business over here on the far side of the field. Little pointing, shoving, jawing.
You could see all the Chiefs defenders going after the run fake in the backfield, leaving Shannon Sharp wide open in the zone between the safety and the cornerback.
First and 10 from the 23. Davis, Terrell Davis, among other things, with the Broncos in pursuit of history this year on a number of fronts with their record, with Elam's field goal. Davis on a pace coming into the game to gain 2,166 yards. That would be the record. Eric Dickerson with the 2,105-yard season in 1984.
What's really, if you follow rushing, Greg, that Gaudy coming into the game, 5.5 yards per carry average. That's obscene is what that is. That's getting it done.
Year in, year out, the league average about 4.0. And Brister just throws that one away. So for the Broncos, you've got an unbeaten year going. You've got Elam's 63-yard field goal. You've got Brister playing fabulously in place of Elway. You've got Davis chasing Dickerson. You've got a new stadium that's ready to break ground. Shanahan with a new contract, the most well-paid coach in football, and Pat Bowlen gets to play shirtless at Wildlife Country Club in Honolulu. What more do you want?
And no wonder, and take a look at that, you got a running back that doesn't fumble the football. Terrell Davis, 396 times without putting the ball on the ground.
Third down and 9 from the 22-yard line. And that's caught at the 16, but it's short of the first down. Marcus Nash made the grab, but it's going to be fourth down. And in comes Elam.
Well, if you're a Bronco coach, though, you like the way Marcus Nash is playing this football game. He's going down, makes a tough catch on a slant. He makes a nice catch along the sideline, holds on to it, takes a big hit. This is their first-round draft choice that they didn't know what they got when they saw him. And as each week has gone by, he's gotten a little bit more comfortable, and now he's been able to actually contribute in an NFL game.
Getting to play a lot tonight because of the McCaffrey injury. This is a 35-yard attempt. Ruin did a nice job on a high snap, and Elam bangs it through. And that gives the Broncos a 16-point lead, 23-7.
Was that a slice or a hook?
What's so hard about Jason Elam and Doug Bryan? Perfect year for Jason, who sends it down to the 5. Rashawn Sheehy tackled at the 20. Nice tackle downfield made by George Coghill. 2:58 left in the third at Arrowhead. 23-7 for the unbeaten Broncos.
Good to watch a football
Fantastic.
game. Really terrific. Sorry about that, Al.
That's all right.
Just got so excited.
I understand.
Sometimes you just got to get it in.
Yeah, you just got to get it in.
Here's Gannon throwing to Andre Rison up to the 28-yard line for a gain of 8. Clock ticking down in the third quarter.
Oh, look at that. Look how small your head is.
Oh,
Al.
look at Boomer. You just like, you know.
Just another lunch. That was taken at lunch today.
That was Boomer. You know how I am on a first date, baby.
It took me about an hour to get the oil off my lips.
Oh,
Al.
excuse me.
I hope you were enjoying that, Al, more than
yes. No, that was an appropriate look on 2nd and 3. This is Kimball Anders picking up the first down.
And I'm looking at that thinking there, but for the grace of God, go on.
Yes, only because you got in the elevator first.
I was so close.
You know, you talk about one of the really great coaches in the NFL. You know, that's Marty Schottenheimer. And, you know, they're under some pressure here. And they're under pressure because I think they had high expectations. They brought in Chester McLaughlin. They also brought in Leslie O'Neal. And, you know, they just haven't lived up to the expectations. And that guy is a great football coach, as far as I'm concerned.
From the 35-yard line, Donnell Bennett picks up 2. Marty's had enough help with those goofball polls, of course. The people's choice is Gannon, and it has been for a couple of weeks, but Marty knew that Gerbach's his guy and his guy for the future, and then he finally had to make the change tonight.
Well, Gannon has won. That's why the fans want him. You know, when he filled in for Elvis last year, he was 5-1 as a starter as they closed out that fabulous 13-3 year that they had last year. He was 3-1 in the games that he started this year. So, you know, the fans, when they see Rich Gannon go under center, normally he wins.
2nd down and 7, but tonight he trails, and he has his arm hit on that throw, so that's incomplete. 3rd down. As Harold Hasselback came in. Monday Night Football being brought to you by Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. Prudential, bringing strength and stability to America's families through insurance, healthcare, real estate, and financial services. And Nissan, who reminds you that life is a journey. Enjoy the ride.
Where is that camera? What is that doing?
That is, we have them everywhere.
Strapped to the bottom of one of those Southwest Airlines airplanes.
we hope not. 3rd down and 7 at the 37-yard line. Gannon throws, and that's incomplete. Pretty soon coaches will get help picking their quarterbacks maybe through focus groups. Isn't
well,
that the 90s? That's kind of like the way they pick television shows these days. You guys know it's no longer is it your gut instinct and intelligence. It's focus groups.
Well, you know, the one thing you don't have to do, you don't have to tell Marty Schottenheimer how to coach a football team. I mean, I think his track record speaks for itself, and the amount of wins, the professionalism that he brings to this organization, and everywhere he goes, he's successful. And I know that there are a lot of cities around the league that would love to have a winning coach like that.
Aguiar's kick, they're caught by Darian Gordon at the 21-yard line. Focus groups I know are in cloud banks.
How much they pay those people in focus groups?
Move, and we don't lose. We just survive.
Looking for a bit more sophistication? Consider the Nissan Pathfinder LE. With a premium Bose audio.
Back or not, and he said yes, and then the thought at the outset was that, well, okay, this would be his swan song, but it may not be.
No, and the guy that isn't afraid to talk about it is Mike Shanahan. And when you ask him, he gives you a relatively blunt answer that he thinks there's a reasonably good chance that John Elway would come back next year. I think a lot of that has to do with how he finishes this year physically.
2nd and 9 from the 23. Davis. Well, he needed 3 yards for 100, and now he needs 5 because he loses 2 there. Derek Thomas with a tackle, and that's going to end the 3rd quarter.
You got to love Bubby on that particular play. He flipped it back to Davis and actually tried to lead around the corner and made a block.
End of 3, Denver 23, Kansas City 7. Monday Night Football.
You know, on the last play, Bubby Brister flipped the ball to Terrell and then decided, well, you know, maybe I should get a block. As feeble as that may be, he did try, you know, and that's a very noble effort, I thought, of the Bubster.
We're all proud of him.
I am. You can't appreciate that.
It might have been smarter for him to get out of the way than get mauled by Simmons.
3rd down and 12. As the Bubster rolls to his right, throws, that's incomplete. Dropped by Ron Smith, 4th down.
You know, he's not unlike Brett Favre in the way that he plays. You know, he's a free spirit. He goes out there. He loves to play the game, and it's terrific.
Tomorrow night on NYPD Blue, only a new heart can save Bobby Simone's life. Sometimes all you can do is pray. All new NYPD Blue tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central.
You guys been watching that?
Yes.
Oh, man, I'm tearjerker city.
He needs a heart transplant. I saw it last week. Huh. He's had to wait all week.
Bruins kick, fielded at the 48, and Kevin Lockett returns it to the 50-yard line. Mike Stock, the agonizing special teams coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, is clubbed down by 16. Coming up Sunday night on ESPN, you've got the New Orleans Saints 5-5 against the San Francisco 49ers, and then Monday night we go to Foxborough, Miami on top of the AFC East against the New England Patriots in desperate need of a win and trying to get healthy in the process. First down for Kansas City at the 50 is Gannon, slips to his left and then throws, and it's caught by Anders for a 4-yard pickup to the 46-yard line.
You know, when you're struggling on offense, I mean, the pressure gets you. You have to move. When you're trying to hit your receivers, it seems like the defensive backs are right on top of them. Now, this is the type of thing that you go through when you're trying to figure out and try to find plays that are going to make things happen for you. They finally have some good field position here. And there's no longer a threat of a running game. They have to be aggressive in the passing game now.
Second down and 6. Just a 4-man rush and then a nice grab at the 30-yard line by Tony Gonzalez. First down.
And the nice thing about that, Dan, is actually lined him up as a wide receiver, a la the Denver Broncos and Shannon Sharp.
And that's, you know, some of the things you can do when you've got a tight end that has the speed and the athleticism of Gonzalez. They've used this. This time he was all the way out. He's been in the slot a couple times, and he's got Romanowski out there on him.
That's the matchup problems that you have, and that's what Denver has exploited many years with Shannon Sharp.
From the 30 on first down after a 16-yard gain. Gannon throws, tipped, and intercepted at the 15-yard line by Bill Romanowski.
Was Cudrez the guy that got a hand on that?
Len Cudrez reached back and made a nice play, and Romanowski was right there to pick up the deflection.
Bronco ball and a 16-point advantage.
To Ted Popson, Cudrez deflects it. Romanowski makes the interception. A whole bunch of people real excited at Coyote Wells in El Centro, where Len Cudrez is from. How about that, boys?
El Centro, California?
What state?
I was going to, you better.
I know, I've been there, man.
Down by the Mexican border, yeah.
I've been there, yes. He's very active in his hometown community, and wanted to make sure that I said hello to all the folks back home in El Centro.
Carrillo Valley. Bill Romanowski with 2 interceptions now this season, leading the team in sacks, tied for the team lead in picks.
And when you think of a front four that has Neil Smith, you wouldn't think that he would lead the team in sacks. As Ed McCaffrey looks pretty comfortable with the warm-up on. I think he's done for the night.
So he is comfortable. Somebody's comfortable.
Yes. Remember, he strained a hamstring in the first half, and he'd be a spectator now.
Timeout, Denver.
It's the day.
Yeah, glad we're not down in that mess.
And just think of the money they saved on a helicopter. The new Ford Explorer, built Ford tough.
What's the dad to do when his kid's growing up too fast?
Lay off on the cologne. I just saw a fly take a nosedive.
Thanks for the tip, Daryl.
Daryl. A new Hughley's. See you Tuesday on ABC.
Downtown Kansas City on what has been a sparkling day and evening in the NFL since 1973, or since the Dolphins started the season 9-0. There are the teams that have gotten this far, and when they lost their first game of the season, Washington, the last team to go 9-0 and eventually to go 11-0, and then the Redskins went on to win the Super Bowl following the 91 season, as Terrell Davis seeks the first down, should have it, and that will put him over 100 for the 8th time in 10 games. The only times this season he hasn't gone into triple figures: opening night against New England when they won 27-21, and then last week against San Diego when he had 69 yards and basically didn't play in the fourth quarter.
And he's padding that 5.5 yard per carry average. 6.2 is average tonight. And this is the point in a ball game where if you're a member of the Kansas City Chiefs, one missed tackle, one piece of sloppy defensive play taking the wrong angle, Terrell Davis is gone.
From the 31, Davis.
This is also the part of the game, Dan, where, you know, you're a defender and you see this guy coming at you full speed. You're not as likely to throw your body in there as much as you would if it were in the first quarter. I mean, this is where great running backs really take over the football game, and it's a little chill in the air. It's a little tougher to tackle.
Terrell heading to the Denver sideline.
Derek LaVille will come in to replace him.
I don't know if he landed wrong or
he's all right.
Passing yardage pretty close, but what a huge disparity on the ground. Derek LaVille Up to the 39, setting up third down and short. Thinking about the Broncos not having lost a game in 11 months. Their last loss, when you think about it, it was a Monday night last year at San Francisco. They had lost to Pittsburgh the week before. They'd lost a real tough game a couple of weeks prior to that to Kansas City on Stoyanovic's field goal. Then in San Francisco, they blow a 10-0 lead, get blown out. Davis leaves the game with a shoulder that keeps him out of the next game against San Diego. You don't know when he comes back. And then, of course, they start the playoffs, and the rest is history.
You forget that we're watching a wild card team playing the division champion. And the division champions are in red.
3rd and 1, and LaVille can't get out of the backfield, and they hold him here in the after kick. Speaking of division champions, you guys notice that no division champion from last year is in first place right now?
It's a wild year in the NFL. And you know, yesterday the contenders stepped up and the pretenders stepped back. And you look at the game that the Atlanta Falcons had yesterday, again with Jamal Anderson. I will continue to tell you, and he is a terrific football player, and how good the Atlanta Falcons played yesterday defensively.
8-2 are the boys from the Deep South.
They ain't no joke.
No, they're not.
What I'm saying.
Bruins kick, a liner caught by Lockett at the 21. Flag is thrown, and Lockett brings it back in the 38. And there's a flag on the bench and another flag. 2 separate penalties upcoming.
You'll have a personal foul down here, and you'll have an illegal man downfield up there. So finally a break for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Personal foul is going to go against Anthony Lynn. Of the Broncos. Rick Dennison is the special teams coach.
Holding on the offense, number 59, prior to the punt. That penalty is declined. Personal foul, late hit out of bounds on the defense, number 42, 15 yards, first down.
That's Detron Smith. And there's your personal foul. Some of them anyway, as the Chiefs are in peril right now of losing a 3rd consecutive home game. First down from the 48-yard line as Gannon winds up hitting Rashawn Sheehy for a first down to the 34-yard line.
And the Kansas City Chiefs will stay in their 2-minute offense now and try to get something going here.
9:38 ticking down. Denver up by 16. Gannon throws over the middle. That's caught by Andrews, who gets tackled by Mobley inside the 30.
What you're seeing now is the dreaded prevent defense, the soft zones, and you're going to have to come after him sooner or later. You're going to have to bring a blitz. You can't just let him sit back there. Even though you are in a comfortable lead, you just can't let the quarterback sit back there and just keep completing passes.
2nd and 4.
You see Rich Gannon audibling. He's reading the defense, and he's going to try to get probably somebody down the middle.
And he winds up hitting Horizon. Andre turns inside and does a 360 and gets tackled at the 27-yard line. Still about 2 shy of the first. Darian Gordon along with Mobley. Third down 2 at the 27-yard line.
This is where the quarterback just yells a play. Everybody's in the same formation.
And he finds the open man here, and that is Derek Alexander, who takes it just outside the 10 for a first down, but a marker is down in the offensive backfield. Thrown by Dick Hantak, the referee. Against Denver.
Well, finally, Kansas City gets somewhat of a break.
You know, Rich Gannon wants to play now. He wants to stay at the line of scrimmage, but they're telling him to huddle. And
illegal hands of the face. Defense, number 97, penalized half the distance to the goal line. First down.
Well, I don't blame Rich Gannon for not wanting to huddle. He wants to stay at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to have to talk this over because I don't think they assessed the penalty properly.
Well, they haven't walked it off yet.
Not yet. Yep, Mike Lodish is the man called for it.
I think they're trying to determine whether this is half the distance to the goal line or whether it's walked off from where the penalty occurred.
Thing is, you're going to throw lots of flags. You got to know exactly what
Or decline it.
what's going on here.
Well, this may not be a penalty that's tacked on to the end.
Right, exactly. It's declined.
And if it's not, you decline the penalty.
You have to decline it.
The illegal hands in the face was during a pass play. The penalty is declined.
Okay.
The result of the play, first down.
So the ball is at the 11. It's 1st and 10.
But to go back to my other point, though, is that, you know, Rich Gannon wants to stay at the line of scrimmage and keep the pressure on the defense of the Broncos. I'm not a big proponent of huddling, Dan.
I understand. But he had no choice because after all that.
Gannon throws, and it is dropped in the end zone by Andre Rison.
It was a little bit behind him.
It wasn't like, you know, Gannon was, you know, standing there without anybody around him. He was moving around, bouncing around, trying to get away from the rush. And right as he threw the ball, he got hit on his shoulder. And Andre looks like, come on, you got to throw it a little bit better than that. But, you know, it's not like you're standing back there, nobody's around you.
Well, he
Takes
does
one
a nice
guy
job
miss,
evading the rush right there.
Ooh,
It was behind Andre, but a receiver of his caliber certainly could have caught that.
2nd down and 10 in a critical situation, and they give the ball to Rashawn Sheehy on a most curious call. Neil Smith applauding the play choice, and it'll be 3rd down and 9.
You know, the thought process being that the defensive linemen and linebackers are so worried about getting back and putting pressure on the quarterback that you try to pop a little bit of a trap up the middle. And again, it's one of those plays that when it works, you're a genius, and when it doesn't work in this situation, you know, everybody frowns upon it.
3rd and 9, ball at the 10, halfway through the 4th period. Gannon throwing and dropped again at the 1-yard line. He had Derek Alexander, and he couldn't hold on.
Well, he had it, and then it was knocked out. It's Tyrone Braxton, I think. That was a Kansas City touchdown, if not for a superlative play by Braxton. Alexander's going to break to the inside. The ball is right there, and Braxton just gets his left hand on the football and just pops it right out of Alexander's grasp.
Yeah, that wasn't a case of Alexander taking his eyes off the ball.
No, he had it.
Tyrone Braxton.
4th and 9, they have to go for it, down by 16. Gannon falls down and gets sacked at the 19-yard line. So trips on his own feet. Price will get credit for the sack, and the Kansas City Chiefs, with a 1st down at the 11, wind up giving the ball up on downs.
You need 2 touchdowns and a field goal. Certainly kicking a field goal there was a viable option.
Too late now.
Effort in the opener, it just hasn't come back yet. It's just not there.
Yeah, and he got hurt last year. He got hurt this year, and I'm sure he felt the pressure to stay or to try to get back on the field as quickly as possible and make some plays.
Well, there goes Chester the molester again, and now the question: did somebody flinch on the Denver line? I didn't see much in the way of movement, but let's have a good long talk about this.
Well, it's entirely too many conversations.
How in the world can you possibly have that lengthy a conversation about
Personal
that
foul.
Well, maybe it's because
Defense
of that.
number 75, unnecessary act, 15 yards, 1st down.
McLaughlin, so it was a little bit more than whether it was
That's 2 on Chester tonight.
encroachment or illegal
Well, they're
motion.
saying Chester came off sides and then took a shot in the process to the head.
Monday Night Football being brought to you by Charles Schwab, providing people technology and support to help you gain financial control. Ford F-Series, the best-selling trucks are built Ford tough. AT&T, it's all within your reach. And Bud Light, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down. Make it a Bud light.
You know, Dan, just to finish the thought on Elvis for a second is that, you know, quarterbacks go through tough times in their careers, and, you know, we've seen it in Pittsburgh with Cordell Stewart, and the question is do you let the young quarterback fight through it and deal with it, or do you put him on the sideline, relieve some of the pressure, and hopefully he can get it back by sight on the sideline.
Derek LaVille, who is playing in place of...
Oh, another flag.
Of Terrell Davis. Davis came off. He didn't appear to be... There is Terrell. Nothing serious, whatever it was.
Personal foul. Clipping on the offense. Number 84. 15 yards from the previous spot.
Shannon Sharp, we're going to look at it.
Well, these teams are doing some serious jawing at one another now.
Oh, look at that. You could see Simmons right there.
Yeah. And that is a real cheap shot by Shannon Sharp. He took offense to the fact that Wayne Simmons threw an elbow at him.
An uppercut.
But boy, when you go, I'm sure Shannon wishes he could do that again. He's not normally that type of a player. And
well, you know, he's reacting to the uppercut, and, you know, I'm not saying either player is right. Two rights do not make a wrong.
No, if a guy gives you an uppercut, Boomer, give him an uppercut. You don't go rolling into the back of his leg.
Two wrongs don't make a right. Or two acts, whatever it was. Can I get a cup of coffee, please?
We're out. First at 25.
We've had enough caffeine.
Verbal tee for Boomer. Here's Lavelle to the outside. Derek just concentrating on staying in bounds. And we'll concentrate on the following promotional announcement. On Spin City, everyone's talking about the hot office romance. An all-new Spin City. Mañana at 9, 8 Central Time, right here on ABC.
My. My, oh my.
Not like our office.
Oh my.
Yes. Officials timeout. 5:40 left in regulation. Bronx by 16.
On weekends, the game comes alive. And after
Trade in a special feature on NFL.com.
5:40 left in regulation as the Denver Broncos have the ball. John Elway enjoying a night off. Mike Shanahan watching his team in quest of a 10th straight win, and very much in the driver's seat right now. Second down and long. Brister gets sacked back at the
That's got to be a penalty on Derek Thomas. Absolutely. You know, the thing watching the Kansas City players and watching some of the things that they're doing here.
Personal foul. Defense number 58, a blow to the head with a forearm. First down.
And the guys that are doing the penalties, which is unbelievable. Derek Thomas, Chester McLaughlin, these guys are supposed to be the heart and soul, the leaders of the football team. And the mistakes that they're making are just unbelievable to me. And this was blatant. And this was uncalled for because Chester McLaughlin had the sack.
Well, it's a smart play by Chester. It's a play similar to the one that Bubby scored on a touchdown in the first quarter. Only this time Chester's at home, and he makes the tackle. And Derek comes flying in and makes contact to the head with a forearm.
It probably looked worse than it felt, but the fact of the matter is that the intent is there, and you can't do that.
It would have been 3rd down and 35 without the personal foul. Instead, it's 1st and 10. And Lavelle takes it up to the 40-yard line.
You know, and this goes back to my point about Terrell Davis. I mean, he's on the bench for the last, 7-8 minutes of the ball game. I mean, he could still be in there piling up yards, but they take him out because they get up so far.
And Chester McLaughlin very slow to get up.
Timeout is called here by the officials. Rushing through 10 games now. Jim Brown in 1963 would have the highest total, and then the great Walter Payton, O.J. Simpson third. Davis, as of the moment, that's where he is at 1330, and then Simpson in 73 had another year. And then when you think about it, Eric Dickerson, who holds the record, didn't even make that list through 10 games, which shows you how Eric finished that season.
So you take this their 10th game, and you wonder how many quarters he hasn't played. and just say you tack on an extra 15 yards per quarter, he would have been well ahead of any of those numbers.
Yeah. Well, you know, but in a way, though, I think some of those other guys probably were in similar situations where they had games in hand and came out.
Well, the other
48-yard line, that's the first down.
The other side of that's a plus for Terrell, though, Boomer, is the Broncos, by and large, have had the lead, and when you have the lead, you can run the football.
Right.
You're not playing catch-up football where you're forced to abandon your running game and go to the air. That's a big plus for Terrell.
Yeah, definitely a good point.
First down, Denver at the 48. Broncos are going home to face Oakland at Mile High Sunday.
What hurts Terrell sometimes is they get too big of a lead.
Right, exactly. And when you look at their offense and you look at coming into tonight's game, I mean, you know, McCaffrey had 43 receptions, Sharp had 40 receptions, Rod Smith 43 receptions, balance all over the place. And it's fun to watch if you're an offensive player. It certainly isn't fun for the Chiefs.
Lordy, lordy, lordy.
All over the joint, face mask call here. Derek Thomas again. Involved with Shannon Sharp.
Shannon Sharp is just crazed, screaming and yelling at Kansas City.
Personal foul. Defense number 58. Face mask. 15 yards.
It's alarming to me to see that these guys are doing this and acting this way at the end of the game. And, you know, certainly that they're frustrated and they want to play, and I'm sure that Shannon's not.
Well,
that's ridiculous, right there.
That is
absolutely ridiculous.
That's a Bush League play by Derek Thomas. And if I'm Marty Schottenheimer, I think about taking him out of the game. If one of my players is going to lose his discipline to that extent, give him the hook.
And the thing about it is you can inflict a very serious injury by pulling on that face mask.
And it's twice on the same series.
Right,
here.
right. Well, it reaches a point where you're doing a disservice to yourself, to your team.
Well, the Chiefs will head to San Diego next week. Maybe they should get a lecture from Sid Gilman, one of the all-time greats. Sid is a consultant. Carl Peterson, the president of the team, has had Sid as a consultant on his staff for a number of years. Sends him the tapes every week, helps him with the passing game. By the way, NFL Films did one of the sweetest pieces I've ever seen. Sid and Esther Gilman. Did you see that?
No.
Now this is developing into a little street brawl right now. There's Howard Griffith. I'm talking about sweet pieces, and we've got a personal foul on every play here.
Well, certainly providing us ample time to discuss most anything.
That's correct.
Personal foul. Defense number 56. 15-yard penalty. First down.
This might be one of the more embarrassing moments in Chiefs recent history here.
You know, and
the number of penalties on this drive.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is you know, Wayne Simmons comes over from the Packers. Then you have Derek Thomas. You have Chester McLaughlin. I mean, these guys are players that have been in this league a long time. And, you know, you just can't, I mean, you can't behave this way on the football field. I mean, I know that you're out here and the team that you're playing against just basically ran you into the ground. But to act like this and to play like this at the end of the game is an embarrassment.
Well,
no call for it, and especially for this coach right here. Because I know that there's no way that he will put up with this.
First and 10 from the 20 as they give it to Lavelle.
Oh, what blocking at the line of scrimmage. Whoa, man.
No flag. First down.
Whoa. That was a wipeout at the point of attack on the right side of the Denver offensive line with Neal and Swain. And there's Harry Swain, the right tackle. And just look at this hole on the right side. This will quiet a defense down. Dwayne Carswell, the tight end. Detron Smith gets a block.
Somebody got ran over.
Oh, there
in the middle.
A couple of red shirts on their back.
It's a pancake.
First down and goal from the 9, and Derek Lavelle exploits the hole in the middle, takes it down to the 2-yard line. There's a flag down at the 7.
Now, you know, Shannon Sharp just must be antagonizing everybody out there because personal foul.
Oh my gosh, can you believe this?
Personal foul. Defense, number 58, face mask. Penalized half the distance to the goal line.
This is Derek Thomas's third penalty on this drive. Again, he's lined up across from Shannon Sharp. And he grabbed, well,
at what point do you throw the guy out of the game?
Oh, I don't know, but he should have been ejected there. That's insane. He finally comes out of the game, but he would come out in this situation anyway. It's a short yardage and goal line situation, and Marty Schottenheimer's talking to Derek Thomas right now.
But what do you say to him? I mean, if you're Marty Schottenheimer, you're beyond words. And
here's Lavelle, and he vaults into the end zone for a touchdown.
Talking about adding insult to injury, but you know what? This is.
Well, quite frankly, that was a deserved touchdown for Denver, in the sense that Kansas City's behavior on that drive defensively was just
what are they?
boorish.
4 or 5 penalties?
5 personal fouls.
Well,
it's not like a hockey game where you can go out there and just start swinging. You know what I mean?
Well, I'd say that looking at this, the Kansas City's chances of repeating as division champions this year are slim.
I have no idea what Shannon Sharp is saying or what's going on out there, but there's certainly some.
Well, there's nothing he can say, Boomer, that would justify that.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, unless it goes back to the clip.
A mile-high salute from Bubby to whatever percentage of the fans remain. Well,
oh goodness. Listen, he's going to give me heat for this because he's going to think I came up with that.
Bubby,
I didn't come up with that.
Bubby, Boomer, Bubby.
You implored Steve Hurt to seek it.
Oh, I did not.
Bubby, Boomer.
Oh, you guys.
Uma, Oprah. We've got it all. I'm telling you guys, I can't recall ever having seen 5 personal fouls.
Yeah, that has to be a record. That has to be some kind of record. And I mean, there's a point of fighting back and taking issue with the people that you're playing against, but you have to do it within the rules. And when you do it outside the rules, what kind of message does that send?
Well, I mean, Derek Thomas has taken a lot of criticism here in Kansas City from on the radio call-in shows and in the newspapers about his productivity. Has it slipped? Is it way down? And obviously Derek snapped. That had to be some type of reaction to the amount of criticism that he's received, because that behavior there can't be explained.
Well, again, here we are, over 30 points. Bubby put up 30 points tonight. It was a terrific game for him.
Well below his average.
30-7.
Oh, here we go.
Up man takes on the 26-yard line, and it's Ty Harton.
Put him in a fullback.
To the 50. Leslie, what do you have?
Al, you are right. Derek Thomas absolutely lost his cool. When he came off the field, Marty Schottenheimer tried to speak to him. He cut him off. He said, "That is the worst bleeping officiating I have ever seen, and I am not bleeping going to let them push me around." Al?
Well, if it was bad officiating, it was only because they didn't throw him out of the game.
No argument. No argument.
I don't get it.
And Derek Thomas has been a favorite of ours for years and years and years, and it's very disappointing to see a guy go down in flames like that.
And the commissioner's here tonight at the 49-yard line, 1st and 10 for Kansas City. Gannon.
The other thing about that, the other side of that is that, now the Denver defense is on the sideline watching this maniac run all over the place and try to rip people's heads off. And who is going to bear the brunt of that? None other than Rich Gannon on the other side of the field. You're going to tell me that they're not going to try to come after the quarterback here and leave a statement. They'll do it within the rules, but they're going to come after him. I'll tell you that right now.
2nd down and 10. That is caught by Kanan Hughes, his first catch of the night, and there is a flag down. So Hantak's crew averaging 21 penalties a game. If this one is accepted, that'll be penalty number 22. Reminder, after the game, stay tuned to ABC for your late local news.
62 offense, 10 yards. Repeat the down, 2nd down.
Either your late local news or other programming, or you can go over to ESPN for a post-game wrap-up.
Dan, I can't ever. You and I have played on some losing teams now. We've been frustrated.
Yes.
I don't know. What does a guy like Marty do right now? I mean, here's a guy who's a class coach. He's done a great job, and he has a player that's basically flown off the handle.
Here's Gannon slipping to his left under pressure, and he's going to get sacked back at the 29-yard line. And he's going to take a second hit as well as Tanavasa got there first.
You know, I'm at a loss for words. I mean, which is an amazing aspect for me.
Well, one thing I know for sure, for years here in Kansas City, if you asked them who their arch rival was, their dreaded nemesis, it was always the black-clad Raiders. And I think it's safe to say that Denver has supplanted the Raiders as the #1 rival of the Kansas City Chiefs. This has become a very bad blood rivalry.
You know, bad blood is one thing, but
well, obviously Marty, I think, is horribly disappointed in Derek Thomas.
3rd and 29. And this is caught by Alexander. And a lot of the bad blood has to do with the fact that one team has a date maybe with destiny, and the other
has a date with 4 and 6.
Yes, 4 and 6, and a little road trip upcoming. And a complete downhill raft. 2-minute warning.
Pizza! Who orders a pizza?
Say, man, mind if I play?
Sorry, Dion. Game's full.
Let's go!
Who do you think you are? Mr. You're never gonna get my love.
Derek Thomas plastered in that pose. That countenance one of serenity.
Well, I think it's, I'm sure, dawned on him by now what he did.
Oh, yes. And there's the other side. This is our house. This is our house. We live here. This is our house. We win here. You know, he's not afraid to speak his piece now, guys.
He is. I mean, he is a very funny guy.
He's extremely funny, talented. He agitates. Yep. He knows how to get under people's skin.
What was his little mock phone conversation? Was that the Jacksonville game where he was?
Always the New England game.
New England game.
New England. Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't miss much.
Call out the National Guard.
Send the troops.
Yep. Leslie, what's happening?
Al, I'm down here near Shannon Sharpe, and he is talking to the fans. He's telling them to go home. This is our house. You only lease it, and you haven't paid up in 3 weeks.
Oh, man. Oh. Maybe it was, I wonder if he was saying that to Derek Thomas.
Shannon knows when the camera is on him. He knows when, but you know something? It's 30-7.
Yep.
Well, that's the thing.
Pretty much say what you want.
No, that's the thing in the NFL, boy. There's no compassion.
No.
There is absolutely no compassion. It's about, you know, they're blitzing now.
It is 4th down and 13. Gannon now calling for max protection.
Down to 2 seconds. Oh, and the snap, and Gannon wasn't ready for it.
Yep. And it's a 4th and 13 play, so this will turn the ball over to Denver. And that sort of symbolizes Kansas City's night.
You know, the other problem that you have now is you have Neil Smith standing in front of the Kansas City bench, you know, kind of agitating them too. That doesn't help matters either.
Well, Gannon is saying I didn't call for the ball. The fact of the matter is Grenard snapped the ball because he's looking at the clock, realizing the play clock's going to expire, and there's going to be a 5-yard penalty.
So Denver can now run the clock out. Pat Bolin, whose wife Annabelle celebrates her birthday tonight, so it's been quite a trip to Kansas City for the Bolins and their 5 children.
Well, they'll have a lot to talk about on their flight back to the Mile High City. And there'll be no shortage of things to talk about here in Kansas City either. In this short week leading up to their having to play the Oakland Raiders.
Well, Pat has watched his Broncos begin each of the last 3 seasons with no worse than a 9-1 record.
This makes 4, huh?
Well, this is the 9-1 the last 2 years. And
and then this is the
right.
This is the third. I'm sorry.
10-0.
Lost my head there for a minute.
You're allowed.
I knew it. I just lost it. Personal foul on me.
Personal foul, but we're declining the penalty. First team in the history of the league, as you can see, to win at least 9 of their first 10, each of 3 years. 2 years ago, remember, they had such tremendous Super Bowl hopes and aspirations, and then the Jacksonville Jaguars went to Mile High and laid on one of the all-time unbelievable postseason upsets.
They're kind of playing the regular season the same way they play the first quarter.
Yes.
Yep. You know, and the thing about it is, though, is that, as we all know, is that you might as well wipe it all out, because once you get into postseason, anything can happen.
Well, they go to Kansas. They go to Mile High next week against Oakland. Then at San Diego. Then Kansas City has to go to Mile High in December. Then at the Giants. Then a Monday night monster at Miami. And then Seattle will wrap up the season at Denver. So that is the road to destiny.
And there's Bill Romanowski standing next to Mike Shanahan saying, you know, I told you Bubby was out there. You should have got Bubby. I know a few things about quarterbacks when I see him.
And meanwhile, this struggling Kansas City offense gets to strap on, as you mentioned, that tough San Diego defense on Sunday. And wow, this is going to be a busy week for Marty Schottenheimer here in Kansas City.
Well, 330 points in 10 games, 33 points per game. Our director of information, Steve Hurt. Lynn Vandenberg running the shop up here. Our statistician, George Hill. Our spotter, Malibu Kelly Hayes, and the gang as we move on to New England next week. And Denver goes home with a mark of 10-0. A perfect season and almost a perfect night. And a demolition job here. 30-7. Back to wrap it after this.